Typically it'd be wise to save our work as we progress, so I'm going to click a save and then continue. Conceptual, 2D wireframe, custom view, southwest isometric. Let's union those together. Pick union, select the blue and the feature we just created and hit enter. So let's move it back to the 3D layer so we can see how we're doing. Give it some color here. Good. You have to fill it out the rounded curves here and here. Let's do that next. The fillet command may or may not work with these features. Let's find out. Sometimes they don't. I could read it right there. The fillet surrounds a 1/4 of an inch radius. The fillet surrounds 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so this is how that works. And take out the color again. Go to an isometric drawing. And you would pick the fillet command. In our case, I believe it's in here. There it is right there. Type in fillet or pick fillet. You're going to select the object, which is this feature right here, and it recognizes that you want to work with that line. Okay. My radius is already set to 0.125, but if it's not, just type in 0.25 and hit enter. Okay. Then it says select an edge, pick that edge, and hit enter. Let's see if it works. I saw something happen, and it did. So repeat the fillet command 3 more times, and remember to save frequently depending on the quality of your computer so as not to have to start over each step of the way. Okay, let's do another one. Fillet, select the object, enter, select an edge, enter, there's another one. And then the other sides. Okay, modify, fillet, select the object, enter, and as you obviously knew, you could pick more than one feature at a time, but I usually don't want to crash my computer system, but sometimes it works okay. So we got those rounded, save our work. Now, I know that this feature is rounded off as well, and because this may cause us some problems, we may not be able to complete that step. Let's find out. I also think the fillet radius of, I think the round of 1/4 of an inch is just too large for this feature. So let's see. Yeah, it is too large. I know you can't tell right now, but let me rotate this. See? It flattens it out. It works, but we don't want to see that. I will probably change this to say that these are a round of 1/32 of an inch as opposed to 1/4 or even 1/16. So if I do a fillet radius of 1/32, I think it would look a little bit nicer. So modify, fillet, pick the object, enter the radius as 1/32, 1/32 of an inch. It's just a nice small rounded edge. It will look more impressive and complete. Machined objects typically are rounded off to minimize sharp edges, but not all features are always rounded. In this case, we did round off these at 1/32 of an inch, which I'll recommend you do too. Here's the part. Okay, now that the part is finished, I'm going to show you how to print this object with your original two-dimensional drawing. Open your two-dimensional version of the pivot arm from the previous course open your title block you created in Layout 1 from a previous course. Okay, so I have a drawing with a title block on it. I have a drawing with my two-dimensional object on it, and I have my 3D object. So I have a title block in Paperspace I created from a different drawing, from a different lesson. I have my two-dimensional drawing I completed from a different lesson. Now, for today's lesson, we have the 3D object. Let's bring them all together. Being that this is the drawing I'm working with today, I'm going to go to Layout 1 in this tab. When I do that, an automatic viewport is created. I'll double-click outside of that. I wanted to tell you that we could rename this to, say, Paperspace, like we learned before, if you were in that class, that is. And if you don't have a viewport because you accidentally deleted it, I'll show you how to create one. Your background not look white like this. I'll show you how to make it look white right now before we start. You right-click on the screen and go to Options. In this section called Layout Elements, remove anything but these two check marks and you'll see a full background that's white without any gray. Click OK. Alright, let's make a layer called Viewport. And make it orange, number 30. Make it current, and then close this window. The command to make a viewport if you lost one is mview, M-V-I-E-W. I'm going to make a small one for a reason. Okay, there it is right there. I made the viewport small for a reason. We're going to use this only for the three-dimensional feature. So I'm going to go back to my Model tab and remove a lot of stuff. Anyway, all I need is this 3D object. So I'm going to move this out of the way and erase everything else. Because as you can see, features disappeared when you extruded them. So all I have is this. So in Paperspace, this is inside this little tiny viewport. Okay, not yet being used. I need the title block first. So I will go back to my drawing that has a title block on it. I know this one does. I also know it already has a viewport within it. It's going to copy that over as well. If it does not, you will make a second viewport that you will need for the two-dimensional drawing of the pivot arm. Select everything, right-click, pick clipboard, copy with base point, pick the lower left drawing as a base point, switch to 3D object, make sure you're still in Paperspace, right-click, clipboard, and paste this in. Doesn't matter where at this moment, but I'm purposely going to overlap the viewports so that I can grab that viewport when I need it. So I'll do something like that. Alright. Now let's see if there's a viewport in here. Let me double click in here and I do see a viewport. I could type in zoom extents, Z enter, E enter to see what's here. I see nothing there. Not sure. Oh, I think I know why. Let me verify. Don't know why yet. Let me switch directions. Okay, there it is. Could have been in a view. Maybe yellow is not the wisest choice to use on paper. There, we can see that. Okay, so it was there. But we don't need this in the large view. So let's get this out of the way. What we need is the two-dimensional drawing we see here. So let's make sure everything is ready for copying and pasting. I don't want to copy and paste in the Southwest isometric view. I want to copy and paste in the top view. Get that out of the way because that's what this is drawn in the top view. So we're going to put it in here. Feature. Select everything. Right click, clipboard, copy with base point, select an object. This object is already drawn. when we paste it in inside this viewport, we're going to go to clipboard and paste it as a block so we don't have to work with it at all. Let's see. Alright, now let's zoom out. There's our feature. Okay, and this is how you're going to draw and display two drawings at one time. As you can see, it's possible. Sometimes you have to move things out of the way. Get it out of the way. Come over here and bring it back. Oh, you gotta click in here to bring it back. There it is right there. So you have to kind of pan and zoom and so on and so forth. Let's find a scale that'll work for both of these drawings. Afterwards, obviously we'll move this viewport into the title block. Okay, so let's talk about scales. You recall scales are things like such as typing in Z enter, 1xp enter. That fit nicely. Can we fit the viewport of the three-dimensional object with it as well? Let's find out. Let's place that here. Click over here. Z enter, 1xp enter. Rather large. Change its direction. Z enter, 1xp enter. Pan it over without zooming. I need a larger viewport, so I click outside. It will not fit. Let's do half size. So Z enter 0.5 XP. Maybe too small. Let's do 3/4 of an inch. That's an appropriate scale. Z enter 0.75 XP. Enter. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Looks like it's going to fit. So let's move this viewport, select it to here, and then hit the escape key. Now let's make these viewports disappear. Under the Layers tab, click on Freeze. Oh, it's the current layer. Make a different layer current, then freeze it. I believe that's what makes it disappear. And that is the... Aha! I know what's happening. Pick that anyway. The reason why the features disappearing is because when I brought this in as a block, I was on the viewport layer, which was current, which means that this object is on the viewport layer. So this object, notice how it's a one object. I need to get it off the viewport layer so that when I freeze the viewport layer, let me double click outside, it stays on. Now I know I'm processing a lot out loud, but I think you're getting the idea. Here's our object. Update the information down here. Save yourself a copy. We have a two-dimensional drawing with a three-dimensional figure of that drawing. You can do whatever you like with this, give it different colors if you so choose. To do so, I work over here to get away from there. Come back here and it'll be updated. Hope you had fun working on this.